How have you demonstrated that you can work well with others, especially those with differing viewpoints?
I was just a construction foreman, and you know, when I went through the apprenticeship, we were hazed, and we were told when I got up to be a foreman, you know, you give the new guys a little tough love. You let them run their way for 2 weeks. If they show improvement, then you step in and you coach them. You say, hey, there's an easier way to do that. And some of them didn't like it, so you get in little arguments out there on the job site and you deal with it. But you know, overall, they recognize that you try to help them, and that's all I want to do. Is I want to help the people have a voice that's, in my opinion, not being heard. And so I get along with everybody. I'm a nice guy.
James.
Well, I've spent 30 years in the Coast Guard, as well as simultaneously running a private business in the real estate business, rental housing. In the Coast Guard, I held a variety of jobs. I started out as a training officer, administrative officer, executive officer, and this and that. Under me, there were always enlisted person, and there were also other officers. I had to work with them. I came from a variety of areas. True, we had a mission. And true, someone pointed out once before, it's a hierarchical organization, so people have to obey. Not necessarily. You still have to be a diplomat. You still have to have good people skills. I have good people skills. I have good verbal skills. I have good intellectual skills. I can work with people. I can work with people really well. In my job, again, with the Coast Guard, I work with civilian agencies having to do with oil spills. I can work with people. I can cross the aisle. I'm a nice guy.
Thank you. James, we'll begin with you on this next question. If the cost of government is a function of inflation and population growth, how does the legislator accommodate this reality?
Well, I would question if the cost of government is necessarily a factor, is a direct result of those two things. And again, the government isn't going to get cheaper if you have more people. And government isn't going to get cheaper if you have inflation. But the fact of the matter is, we don't have any inflation now. We got like negative inflation, and the cost of government is going up. And we're probably, the rush to come into this state has slowed down a great deal. So again, government doesn't necessarily have to go up. Government, as business does, they always have to think of the better way to do it, the smarter way to do it. Walmart doesn't give you those prices because they sit on their laurel and say, oh, well, we can raise prices because of inflation and more people coming to the state. No. They leave no stone unturned in a better way. And again, the state is overmanned and overpaid, and they need to tighten that up. That will give them money to handle the state.
Inflation to me is a bad thing because everybody's on fixed incomes that's retired. They're not going up right now. The health care bill that was passed by Obama, that's going to add a lot of cost to people, and I don't understand it. But as for the state, you know, if they tighten the belt and cut costs and downsize the size of government and go back to just the basics, you know, education, security, or police forces, fire, medical, that would curb the inflation that's going on in this state. And I don't have all the answers. It seems like an important thing to curtail because people's salaries aren't going up. We need to stimulate growth. I mean, just in this complex area, you have a whole strip mall basically empty. To go out, that's not good for anybody here.
Aaron, we'll begin with you on this next question. Despite the rhetoric, this last budget was the first time since 1951 when the present budget is actually smaller than the previous budget. What more do you think can be cut?
Well, DOT is paving sections of road that don't need to be paved. They're just burning budget. So I would downsize them or control their expenditures. DSHS is so big, left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. we have, I don't know how much money the state spent on the enhanced driver's license system, but, you know, the federal government offers a passport, just go get that. I mean, why do we need to spend money on enhanced driver's license? It doesn't make sense. We just need to cut the costs. I mean, there's no reason. I talked to a lady, she works for the Employment Security Commission. She said their department got new computers for no reason, just to spend the budget that they had, and that's unnecessary.
James?
Yeah, for the good viewers who probably can forget the question, you know, can you have it again?
Absolutely. Despite the rhetoric, this last budget was the first time since 1951 when the present budget is actually smaller than the previous budget. What more do you think can be cut?
First of all, the basic premise that you state there, somebody probably came up with that. That's a great spin point. That's frankly very, very silly. Through actuarial sleight of hand, getting stimulus money, $3 billion stimulus money from the federal government, you can make that out. They can come up with that fact, but it really doesn't bear out. It makes it sound like, oh, since 1952, gosh, they really, really felt the pain last time. It's not. Again, there are a lot of tricks and stuff and deferred payments that they didn't do last time. Back to the earlier thing having to do with what has been referred to as the perfect pension storm, this gigantic unfunded mass of retiree benefits that we owe to our zillion state workers, as well as the retiree health care, and finally the current health care that's going on. All that is going to sink us. I don't care what it says, how great we're doing since '52. That's bogus.